Okay, I think you guys know her, okay? Uzo Aduba. All right, I gotta see your signs. Let me see your signs. Today, Glamour joins the planet in celebrating the International Day of the Girl. So make some noise for America's first ever Youth Poet Laureate, Amanda Gorman.
Power unfurls in a girl at school like the first pages of a book unwritten. She, a story waiting to ignite. We know these as truths, not wonders, that the miracle isn't in a girl being the first. It is her seeing that which is non-existent. It isn't her seeing an untouched sky and sculpting her own dreams from that emptiness. We know that we want educated girls not to be a marvel, but a movement, that an educated girl is a vision in and of herself. We want girls not to be unbelievable, but believed in. We imagine a day of the girl, for the girl, where the wind opens up the floodgates for the river of women behind her. We are here not to be the first, but to refuse to be the last.
Let's hear it for Youth Poet Laureate Amanda Gorman and the Power of Girls. Right here, live in New York City, Glamour is bringing you the power of an educated girl. So get loud for your Emmy-winning host from Orange is the New Black, Uzo Aduba.
Thank you, DJ Vashti Kola. Give some love to DJ Vashti Kola. And welcome to Glamour's incredible celebration of your power, your spirit, your education. Now, I love loud, proud women and girls. So let me hear our loud, proud women and girls. Can I see those signs? Can I see those voices? Yes! 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 I love that. Now, here's why educating girls around the world matters to me so much. It matters because, ladies, when you have your education, what you have in your hand is your own power. You have in your hand your own opportunity to open the door to your highest and greatest possibility. Education has shown us repeatedly, time and time again, that when a girl is educated, statistics like domestic abuse drop exponentially. Teen pregnancies lower. Advancement within a home increase financially. So what you are doing is holding the key to your own future, your own autonomy, and choosing the life that you want for yourselves. And that is why I am here today with you. You all hold the power. Education creates a space for girls and women to dream and reach for their own highest possibilities. So today, you're going to hear some amazing, inspiring stories from incredibly talented, engaged young women. And we're also going to talk with a US Senator who is definitely one of the good guys when it comes to girls' education. And we've got performances that will make you want to jump out of your seats. And we're going to do our best to respond to your live posts on Twitter using the hashtag Glamour4EDU, and questions coming from our live stream on Facebook Live. Hello. So hi to everyone on the live stream. Let's give love to the live streamers. And so it is now time to get this party started. So please give it up to the voice, the editor-in-chief of Glamour, Cindy Levy. Yes, yes.
Thank you, baby. Thank you, Uzo. Thank you, DJ Vashti. Hey, girls. I love this event, and you know why? Among the many things that makes this event special, the girls get the good seats, right? You guys are all down in front in the orchestra. I gotta say, I'm with Uzo. At Glamour, we believe that education is everything, and every single person that you're gonna see up here on the stage today, every actress, every entrepreneur, every politician, they will all tell you that they got up here because something they learned early on got them really excited, or because a teacher who believed in them made them feel like they could do absolutely anything. Have you guys ever had that? Have you had that? Well, when I was in high school in a town in Virginia, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And then I started working late at night on the school paper, and suddenly it was like, oh my God, can this be a job? And in fact, it can. It really opened everything up to me. Now I edit Glamour, and we write a lot about all the great things that women are doing in the world. But you know what? I firmly believe this. The best is yet to come, and you guys, all of you, are the ones who are going to make it happen. I know that I'm looking at a room full of power coders and playwrights and Olympians and presidents, like not one president, but maybe two, really? And for you guys to get your shots at greatness, for you to be able to do all of those things and get the jobs that you want, and the lives that you want, and the everything that you want, it all starts with the opportunity to go to school and eventually graduate. Your best revenge will be your paper, the paper of your diploma, which is going to open the way for everything else you want to do in your life. So all of that is why Glamour launched the Girl Project, to help girls around the world get the high school education they want and deserve. We partnered up with some smart organizations that I think are in the room today, like CARE and Plan International USA, Girls Inc. She's the first, Lower East Side Girls Club, and Communities in Schools. So let me hear you guys, all the girls from all of these organizations, raise your voice. Woo! And I want to give a shout out to other friends who are joining us today from the Girl Scouts. What up? I was a Girl Scout. Great experience. Girl Up, Uncommon Schools, Newark, Young Women's Leadership Network, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, New York, and Petals and Bells. Make some noise, all of you. I want all of you to know that in just 2 years, the Girl Project has been able to provide $1 million in grants and reach over 8,000 girls like you with the things they need to go to school and stay in school. And that's happened everywhere from Peru, Rwanda, and India to right here in New York City. We know some of those girls are watching on the live stream today, so what's up, ladies? We hope that they and all of you watching are going to share your thoughts and your questions for our speakers using the hashtag Glamour4EDU. Now, one of the coolest things about the Girl Project has been the opportunity to team up with other people who believe in the power of an educated girl. And one of them wanted me to share a message with you.
Hi, everyone, and thanks so much, Cindy. I am so sorry I can't be with you in person, but I'm thrilled that you all have come together today to celebrate International Day of the Girl. And I am so proud of all the girls who are there with you today. I'm proud of them for stepping up, speaking out, and taking action on the causes they care about in their schools and communities. Now, as you all know, one of the causes I care deeply about is education. And right now, tens of millions of girls around the world aren't in school, which means they are unable to learn what they need to know to provide for themselves and their families and make their voices heard in the world. Now, I refuse to accept that fate for them or for any girl on this planet. Every girl deserves the chance to become who and what she's meant to be. So even though I may no longer be in the White House, I refuse to walk away from these girls. So I'll be working on this issue for the rest of my life, and I hope you'll join me in helping these girls get the education they deserve. And to all the young girls there today, I want you to keep fighting for your own education here at home. No matter what challenges you face in your lives, just keep going. Keep studying and working as hard as you can. And don't ever hesitate to ask for help if you need it. There's always someone out there who cares about you. So reach out to an adult you trust. Reach out to other girls. Encourage each other's dreams and support each other's success. I believe so deeply in each and every one of you. And I believe in the power of girls to raise your voices, to stand up for yourselves, and to go after whatever you need to fulfill your boundless promise. I'm never going to give up on you, so don't you ever give up on yourselves. And I can't wait to see everything you all achieve in the years ahead. Thanks so much.
Can we give it up for Mrs. O? Girls, I want you to know what she said is true, both in and out of the White House. She believes in all of you so much, and she's an incredible supporter of girls everywhere. And so how about this? Just in case she's watching on the live stream, because I'm sure that's how she and President Obama roll on a random Wednesday morning, let's thank her for the work she's done for girls around the world, okay? You guys want to thank her? Everybody up for this? All right, on the count of 3, it's thank you, Mrs. Obama. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Mrs. Obama! Louder, guys. Thank you, Mrs. Obama! Awesome, I think we got it. A couple more thanks before we continue. First, to Maybelline New York, our title sponsor and great friend in the fight for education. You'll be hearing from them later this morning. And I also want to thank the Caterpillar Foundation for their belief in the future of girls. Today, they're launching a campaign called just that, The Future of the Girl, aimed at helping young women worldwide pursue their dreams. Here to tell you more is a woman I really admire, Caterpillar Foundation President Michelle Sullivan.
Let's give it up for Cindy. Thank you, Cindy, and good morning, everyone. It's so exciting to be here today. And I want to tell you how I got here. And I don't mean how I got on my scooter to go up and down the elevator, around the backstage, which, by the way, was not easy, but how I got here in life and in my career. As a woman and a little person, I have particular challenges that you've probably noticed. For example, some people don't view me as an adult. Sometimes I don't get waited on when I go into stores. Or if I go into a restaurant, I get handed a kids menu. These things can be very frustrating, but my parents gave me the confidence and the self-esteem to do anything. So I've never measured myself by what others think of me only of what I think of myself. Sure, there are many things I have to do differently than most people, but I found things I was good at, like school, and I've searched out people who relate to me and have the same passions as I do. Now, we want to hope you do the same. After all, you are the future of this world, right? And together, we can make you stronger, and that's what today's about. That's why the Caterpillar Foundation has teamed with Glamour and other partners on a campaign that will connect future powerhouses like you all with women who are busy changing the world for better. So I'd like to introduce you to the name of our campaign is Future of the Girl, and it was inspired by this young woman, 14-year-old Maddie Kerr. Maddie, please tell everyone how they can get involved, because we need you.
So starting today, you can go online and post a question to any powerful woman you admire using the hashtag #AskLikeAGirl. And organizations like Caterpillar and Glamour will help you get some answers.
Nice work, Maddie. So this is what we need. We need everyone to start posting your questions today, and I want you to show the world what it means to ask like a girl. Go get them. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle and Maddie.
Thank you.
Hey, everyone. And hey, everyone on our live stream, tweet me your questions. Ask me like a girl. I will answer. Just saying. Just saying. So, today, we are talking about the power of education, but it takes more than an A+ on a quiz to be a success. All the crazy stuff running through your head can prevent you from doing your best in school. But when you feel awesome about yourself, when the voice in your head lifts you up instead of taking you down, your GPA increases, and your chances of going to college get so much higher. Our first speaker is a walking icon of self-love and positive affirmation. She is going to drop some wisdom on us, then answer your questions. So, make some noise for model, designer, author, and body activist, Ashley Graham. Thank you. Thank you. What's up?
I was over there making a fool of myself. I was like, hi. Hi, guys, this is so awesome. All right, I want to talk to you guys a little bit. Who in here has ever dated? So, I started dating because the rules in my family were very strong. I couldn't date till I was 16. Is that rude or is that normal? Normal? Okay, all right. So the first boy I dated, his name was Craig. And Craig, y'all know Craig? Okay. Craig, let me tell you something. Craig was a bad boy. He was a skater boy. He was an artist. That's kind of cute. But 3 months into the relationship, he told me something. You want to know? I don't think you're ready. Okay, fine, I'll tell you. He told me that we had to break up. That was my thought. But you know what he said? He said we had to break up because I wasn't going to have sex with him. But wait for it. The second reason, because he said that I was gonna be as fat as his mom. So I think about that moment from time to time, and I say, you know what, if I could go back and talk to her, I would say, Ashley, first of all, Craig is a loser. Second of all, you is fine. And that bulge on your hip that he's talking about, not only is it okay, but it's gonna change the world someday. This crowd, I need to take y'all everywhere with me. Craig made me feel worthless. He made me feel like my body was nothing. That's right, I am better than Craig. And let me tell you this, cut to many years and experiences later, I met my amazing husband who saw me Justin, I know you're up there. But you know what? He saw me. Is he gonna stand up? He's too embarrassed. But you know what, guys? He didn't see me for this. He saw me for this, for my worth. And he liked it so much, he put a ring on it. And let me tell you something else. The fashion industry told me that I wasn't gonna be a real model because of all these curves. But now we can cut to me on the cover of Glamour and Vogue and Sports Illustrated. Yes! And guys, I don't know if you know, but Barbie, they also made an AG Barbie, and she doesn't have a thigh gap. It's a really cool thing. So I didn't always appreciate my body. I didn't always appreciate the power that my body gave. And here's what I want from all of you. I want you to skip past all the drama, all the self-doubt that I had to go through, and get to the good stuff about owning and loving who you are, okay? You guys are the key to your own happiness, because I thought I could get happiness from dudes like Craig. Honestly, the more attention that I got from men, the more that I thought I had value. Yeah, I'm speaking some truth right now, okay? But it wasn't always the right kind of attention, and it always wasn't the right kind of man. It took me a long time to figure out where happiness comes from. But honestly, happiness comes from doing what you love. And if you don't know what you love doing yet, that's okay, that's all right. Because you guys are still young and you're molding and creating. This is a great place to be to figure out what you love. It comes from accepting love from partners who believe in you instead of partners who disrespect you. And now that I'm in my happy place, you can't tell me nothing because I know I'm good enough, okay? And let me tell you something else. Let me go a little further with you now. I'm acting crazy today. Whatever someone thinks is wrong about you, whether it's your opinion or your body, that's actually your superpower, okay? What I know now is that from my heart is my power and not, oh, I'm sorry, I'm saying this wrong. I gotta get this to you right. What I know now is that my heart of my power is not my beauty, but my willingness to share my deepest vulnerabilities with all of you. Let me tell you, when you share your deepest vulnerabilities with the people next to you, with your friend next to you, and you tell her what you're most insecure about, it's gonna make you feel so much better. It's gonna take you out of that insecurity, and it's gonna say, here it is on the table, and it's gonna help you get over whatever it is that you're going through. I'm not here today to make you feel beautiful, whatever that's supposed to mean, all right? I'm here to help you understand that true beauty is okay with being who you are. And being okay with who you are is a revolutionary act, you guys. It really is. And making someone else feel good about who they are, that's downright heroic. And check me out, Wonder Woman, I'm a superhero too. So, okay, so you ready? So let's forget about the Craigs. Let's forget about the haters and the doubters. And let's be the heroes that we are. This is my Superwoman move. So tell your friends, your sisters, your classmates that they are a hero and that true beauty comes from here, and it comes from all here. And remember that you are bold, you are brilliant, you are beautiful, you are worthy of anything that you want to accomplish. That is beauty beyond size. And that never, ever, ever fades. Thank you, guys. So, all right, y'all are the most amazing crew and audience and sisterhood I've ever met. This is awesome. I love you guys, and I know that we're gonna do a little Q&A now. Uzo's gonna be handing the mic out.
Yes. Give it up for Ashley, you guys. Wasn't that incredible? Thank you, Ashley.
Thank
so,
you.
I am here in the audience right now, and we're gonna have some live questions from people that they have for you, Ashley. And we're gonna start over here with Yardana. Noge, excuse me. Noge, excuse me. What is your question, Noge?
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm Noge, and I'm from Girls Inc.
Hi.
And, yes. So you talked about your boyfriend making you feel bad about your body.
Yeah.
But what can girls do if it's their parents or their family members that are making them feel ashamed?
Yeah, that's deep, and it's a good question. It's a really tough one because I really believe that our parents, our guardians, our aunties, whoever is taking care of you really should be your role model. And when they're not, it's hurtful because they're putting their insecurities on you. And the moment you realize that whatever your guardian, your parent, whomever is telling you about yourself that's negative, it's only because they don't like themselves, right? So what you need to do is find a friend, a teacher. My Spanish teacher was my confidant. I was like, girl, come here. And I would take her arm, I'd be like, so this happened the other day. And she's like, do you know that you're worth it? Do you know that you're beautiful? Do you know that your skin and your body is beautiful and don't let anybody say anything? And I was like, that's really nice, thank you. It's really about finding somebody to kind of just take you in and take care of you. Who's next?
That's great. Who's next? Next is Chandra.
Hi.
And Chandra is here from the Lower East Side Girls Club. Woo!
I've been to the Lower East Side Girls Club. I love y'all. I should come again.
I love it. What's your question, Chandra?
Hello. Okay, so I feel like a lot of the pictures online and on social media don't really reflect the person that I am.
Okay.
And a lot of times I don't see pictures that make me feel good about myself. So how can I use social media to make me feel better about myself?
Well, first of all, if your social media doesn't look like you, that's the first problem. Because I feel like the more authentic you are with your social media, it's going to make everybody else that follows you feel more authentic. Like, because you see the same crew at school that follow you on social media. So they're going to be like, no, your skin doesn't look like that. Or, no, I know your waist isn't that cinched. Okay, Facetune. Don't play games. I know you all do it. I think the more authentic you are, the more authentic your social media can be, the more lives you're going to change. And how good does it feel to change a life, to make somebody feel great about themselves? The other thing is, I don't follow people that make me feel bad about myself. I don't follow people who are doing the Uber Facetune or who are... I mean, I might do that pose every once in a while, but I'm not airbrushing my cellulite out. You know, you got to keep it real and only follow people that keep it real as well.
We have one more, Ashley. This is Aisha.
Hi.
Aisha. She's from the Lower East Side Girls Club also. Aisha, what's your question?
Hi.
Hi. you.
So how do you respond to people who make assumptions about your health solely based on your appearance?
Whew. Every single day I go through that. People judge a book by the cover like you wouldn't believe. It's probably happened to all of you. In fact, you might have even done it, not even knowingly. But when I post videos or photos of myself working out, I'll get comments that are like, why are you working out? Why you want to get skinny? That's all your money, all your plus size dollars going down the drain. Or they're like, why do you want to get skinny? Your curves are so beautiful. Why does working out make it feel, why am I trying to lose weight when I'm working out? I'm not, I'm trying to be healthy. So the thing that I like to say to people is, my body is my body. It is not your body, and I get to have all the rules, and I get to make the decisions. It's very simple.
That is great.
Very simple.
Thank you so much, Ashley.
Yes,
Truly,
I know.
thank you.
It is time, and I wasn't watching the time.
No.
You guys, thank you. You're an amazing crowd. You're going to have an amazing day. Thank you, Uzo. Bye, guys.
Let's hear for her one more time, ladies. Ashley Graham. Ashley Graham. So I want to introduce you to our next speaker. You know her as Zoe Johnson on ABC's Blackish. Whoa, whoa. And now she's her own spinoff, Grownish. Give it up for 17-year-old actress, activist.
Hi, lovely ladies. This is such a beautiful room. Oh, I feel the love. All right, I'm gonna be serious real quick. Okay. To be a girl is to be born into an inevitably everlasting community of not just other girls but women, and not just other women but revolutionaries, and not just revolutionaries but educators and caretakers, mentors and supporters and lovers and writers and fighters and powerhouses and so much more. And what shocked me during my high school years, and it may have shocked you too, was being confronted by the fact that we wouldn't learn about these amazing women in our AP and honors classes. Instead, we'd be spending much of our time learning from a preset male-centric curricula, teaching us of the patriarchy of the past and making it ever-present of the one that we are currently living in. Never discussing the true power of the women and the girls who worked alongside them, not knowing where we as girls and young women fit into this story. But the little secret is we've always been integral, important, and essential to the narrative. Just a little secret. And while history has marched forward attempting to erase our presence, women have continued to march forward to make space for future generations. And these space makers are the reasons that we can be in rooms like this together. Space makers like King Jenga and Joan of Arc, Angela Davis and Marsha P. Johnson, Anne Frank and Audre Lorde. The list goes on and on of these space makers, and I have to just say thank you to them. My academic adventures, from my 12 years of school, work, and philanthropy to 20 hours of homework on the weekends and countless 4 a.m. wake-up calls to finish studying for a test, have made me realize that while the fight for equal access to academics is crucial in our fight for equity, education happens when we connect what we learn in the classroom to the world around us. When we ground ourselves in the history of the fierce females before us and the fierce females around us who have set precedent for our potential, because it's their stories that serve as a constant inspiration and as a reminder of where I come from. It's where we come from. The reason I find this so crucial is because while our political and social climate is ever-changing, rocky, and scary at times, we can look back and better understand our societal structures and how revolutionaries of the past have changed these structures. And we have to look at this because then we can figure out how we change these structures, because we are a result of their work. And the next generation and the generation after that will be the result of the work that we do, which means that we must fight for all of the stories that have been pushed into the margin, for not only women, but people of color and the LGBTQ community and immigrants and anyone who has had to live within these intersections. That's why until I can start my own school featuring my two favorite classes, AP Common Sense and an elective of choice. We must lead our education and make it relevant because like our ancestors before us and like the women in my family have demonstrated to me, we must make space for us. And when we look around, we're surrounded by resources. There's a wealth of knowledge to be unlocked in everything around us, from Tumblr posts to Instagram and movies and, of course, novels. Because within Frank Ocean lyrics are the same stories as in Toni Morrison. You guys see both sides like Chanel, too? But it's the same stories as in Toni Morrison's tales of Pecola Breedlove and the Bluest Eye. And within Marvel's X-Men is actually an allegory for the civil rights movement and later the LGBTQ movement. And within Ava DuVernay's work is not only a spotlight being shined on our beauty, but we are witnessing a woman crashing through the boundaries before her. And finally, the most monumental thing that we can do in this room is support one another. And with this support, we can create a network so strong that no one, no textbook, no class, no policy, no man, no politician can have the audacity to ignore us. Now, I'll be back later to talk to you later in the show. But right now, I want you to meet some amazing girls who are using their passion and their drive to get into college and take over the world. Give it up for the 5 members of the first ever graduating class of the Baltimore Leadership School for Young Women, the stars of the documentary Step, the Lethal Ladies. Yes.
Some more love to these ladies, these lethal ladies. Let me ask you, ladies, how you doing? Are you enjoying yourselves? Are you feeling your power? That's what we came here for. I need to see some of these signs, actually. Can I see some of these signs up? I love this one. I got college. I got this. I love that. Let me see, what does this say? Even my goals have goals. I love that. And what do you have down here? Just busy changing the world, thanks. Easy. I love it. It's so beautiful. You know, we've seen so many dynamic women today. who have told us so many different stories. And what is really exciting, I think, about these stories is that they're so varied from one another. And I would like to share a piece of my story with you. Can I do that? Yeah. Great. You know, so growing up, I grew up in a first-generation immigrant family. My family's from Nigeria. Big ups to Nigeria. We got Nigeria in the house? Yes. Oh, Ethiopia? We'll take it. And I was encouraged to play sports my whole life. My family is a sports family, and I think a lot of times we see young ladies who are made to feel as though they shouldn't pursue an athletic pursuit with the same range and degree of excitement as some of their male counterparts. And I was encouraged to run faster, to really seek my goal and pursue it at the highest level as I could. And I was excited about that. I loved sports. I loved competing. I loved races. I loved the energy that it brought me. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I would love to see more and more young ladies who want to pursue sports with as much energy and excitement as boys do. But as I was running, I also discovered something else that I loved. I loved music, and I loved the arts, and I loved creating. And I think what we often see sometimes for young girls is a small box that we get to play in. And we think we can do one or the other. And what I want to encourage you ladies to understand is that you don't have to pick any one thing. You can exercise every single side of yourself and do all of it. If you want to act, do it. If you want to write, do it. If you want to play tennis, do it. If you want to sit on the beach all day while you read, do it. Do what excites you. Do what excites you. Do what makes you passionate, and do it with all of your heart and excellence. My mom told me growing up my entire life, she said, I've never heard of nothing coming from hard work. So long as you're willing to work for it and put in your energy, you can accomplish anything and do anything all at once. So keep striving, keep reaching. Our next guest. Our next guest is an incredibly creative woman and a social media superstar. She is a poet, artist, activist, and storyteller, and author of the upcoming book, Heart Talk. She knew. Give it up for Cleo Wade. Cleo Wade, here she is, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
I see that.
I just want to start by thanking Glamour for letting me be in this room, and to be in community, in this sisterhood with you this morning. It is the best part of my week and maybe the best part of my year. So thank you all. And I'm going to read a poem for you all today, and I want to give you a little insight into why I wrote this poem. I wrote it last year on International Women's Day, and I wrote it because, you know, I think of women and girls almost as this fierce and mighty tree with these sprawling branches that can wrap around the entire world and touch each other. And when I think of that power and that strength, you know, I think it's so important that we as a community reflect on our roots, on the women who came before us, on the women who made it possible for us to stand tall today. So this is a poem I wrote called Who Are We Right Now? And it is about the connection between them and us, because the more we know about where we've been, the more we know about how to get to where we need to go. Who are we right now? Are we Miss Shirley? When we walk up to the table and see no seat for us, So bring our folding chair. Are we Miss Gloria? When we speak about feminism and racism and poverty and all who are oppressed, and remember that the issues are linked and not ranked. Are we Miss Ida? When we right wrongs by turning the light of truth upon them. Are we Miss Fanny? When we yell out that no body is free until every body is free. Are we Miss Coretta? When our country calls on us to remember so deeply in our souls that freedom is never really won. We must earn it and win it in every generation. Are we Miss Angela? When we proclaim that we are no longer accepting the things we cannot change, we are instead changing the things we cannot accept. Are we Miss Alice? When we remember that the most common way we give up our power is by thinking we don't have any. And are we Miss Alice when we remember that our activism is the rent we pay for living on this planet? Are we Miss Sojourner when we say to the world, ain't I a woman? And are we Miss Maya when together, every single day, we continue to rise? To know the women who came before us is to know ourselves. It is to know the blood memory that runs through our veins. It is to know that the unlived dreams of our ancestors are our honor and our duty to live out right now. Because right now, as women and as girls, when it comes to the work of the women before us, we may not be able to pay it back, but we can certainly pay it forward. Thank you so much.
That was great, truly. Thank you, Cleo. I'm excited to bring a super talented woman to the stage. She was born in Mumbai, and we all fell in love with her in Slumdog Millionaire. She's a vocal advocate for girls' education as an ambassador for Plan International and producer of Girl Rising, Engaging India. She's an inspiring individual, a smart woman who has been championing this movement for women long road. Please welcome Frieda Pinto.
Hey girls. Hi. Okay, so I've been sitting backstage and I just couldn't do that anymore. I was like, wait a minute. I need to get some of this energy. I need to stand backstage over here in the wings. You guys are electrifying. Oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Okay, so Uzo did tell you that I'm from Mumbai, but I thought I'd tell you a little bit more about myself. Okay? So, my story, I was born in Mumbai, and back at the time it used to be called Bombay. So if anyone tells you that Mumbai and Bombay are two different cities, do not believe them. It is the same city. Okay, and so just like you, when you're growing up, there are things that you love about the place that you are born in. And I loved the music, Bollywood music. Any Bollywood fans here? All right, so Bollywood music, for sure. The street food. My parents, my school friends, I miss them. I live in America now, and I do miss my school friends. But there's also a real disparity there. I was really lucky because my parents were educated and were very supportive that I go to school and complete my education. But it wasn't true for nearly half of the girls in my country, because if you do know that nearly half the girls in India get married before the age of 18. Yep. Well, in some cases, these girls actually are not even considered worthy of being born. So this goes back to 2012. Okay, I was on a field trip in Rajasthan, and I was meeting one such 15-year-old teenage bride. And, you know, obviously there's trepidation, there's nervousness. What am I going to say to her? I do know that I have completed my education, but you know what? Let me just talk to her about school, because a 15-year-old girl, what else would she want to talk about? So I arrive at her home, her family home, and her father-in-law directs me to the kitchen where she's making tea for her family and for me. I go in and I stand behind her, and she had these bangles on, making a tea, and they were clinging and clanging together. And I was like, okay, go in, Frieda, just do this. So I go in and say, hey, did you like going to school? Do you want to go to school? Very excited, right? But I will never forget, till today, I'll never forget of the rest of my life, the look in her eyes when she whipped her head around and she looked at me like I was so damn stupid. And she said to me, Didi, which means sister in Hindi. She says, Didi, yes, I'd really love to go to school, but right now I make tea. Yep. That is the reality for a lot of girls in the world. And I'm so lucky, and we should all be so lucky that our parents, our supporters, don't want us to make tea. So now change, you know, that's what we're talking about today. It happens, but it comes slowly. It comes slowly, and events like this are so important for it to happen. That is why we have to let the whole world know that we, all of us, are demanding equality in education, whether it's girls in America, girls in India, girls in Pakistan, girls anywhere, all over the world. We're all equal. And we do have help, so we're not alone, right? That's a good thing. Help is really important. We have help in some really high places, and we like that. Yeah, we need that. So there's an organization that I've worked with that is the organization behind the UN's Global Goals campaign, and it's called Project Everyone. I'll tell you a little bit about the Global Goals in case you're ever asked. Now you'll know. The Global Goals are set out to solve some of the biggest challenges that girls face today, from access to quality education and safe water, to end child marriage and female genital mutilation. Okay. Oh, yes, you should be really happy. This is happening. Now, this is a part that will make you even more excited, or I hope it will. Project Everyone went to a certain lady named Beyonce. I know, I'm glad you know who she is. She makes me just as excited. And they asked her if they could use her song Freedom for a movie that they were making about these issues. And you know what Beyonce said? Hell yeah! Yes, you can completely use the song. And guess what? Today, in 45 countries, it's going to debut on their Google homepage. So after you're done, you can see it anyway. Now, here's a little dare. Do you know what the dare is? The dare is, I dare you all to be sitting in those seats while you say freedom. Are you ready? Don't be sitting.
Tears go and fall away, oh, may the last one burn into flames. Freedom, freedom, I can't move. Freedom, cut me telling these tears go and fall away, fall away. Oh, may the last one burn into flames. Freedom, freedom, I can't move. Freedom, cut me loose. Yeah. Freedom, freedom, where are you? 'Cause I need freedom too. I break chains all by myself. Won't let my freedom rot in hell. Hey, I'ma keep on running 'cause the winner don't quit on themselves.
I mean, can we just give it up for those little girls? How incredible was that? That was incredible. Incredible. Freedom. Whew. Okay. Now, I hear we have some different organizations represented here today, and I just want to be able to spotlight each of you from your seats. So, who is Group CARE? Who's here from CARE? Nobody. Plan International USA, over there. Girls Inc. In the building. She's the First. Hello. The Lower East Side Girls Club. Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, welcome all of you and all of our little young girls who are as well. This is incredible. Oh, we also have Girl Scouts. Girl Up. Uncommon Schools Newark, Young Women's Leadership New York Network, Big Brothers, Big Sisters New York, and Petals and Bells over there. Amazing. Well, welcome, and thank you for representing yourselves so well in your organizations. So we have a couple of Twitter questions that I am now going to answer. So keep sending in your questions, #Glamour4EDU. This one is from Casey Davis, and she's asking, what book changed your thinking early in life? Good question. I think the book that changed my thinking early in life was Macbeth. I remember reading that play in high school with my teacher, Mrs. Dugan, and I had never met a woman like Lady Macbeth before, who, though she was not ruler, she held all the cards. I thought she was an incredibly powerful character. Amanda DeRest asks, how did you overcome setbacks when you were starting out in your career? That's a really, really great question, Amanda. I think what I would say to that is two things. Number one, always bet on yourself, ladies. If no one else is rolling the dice on you, roll it on yourself. If you have a passion, a belief in yourself that you can accomplish something, it is your responsibility to see that through. Bet on yourself. Don't listen to what anybody else is, any distraction. Pay no mind to anyone's thoughts or positions or opinions of what you are able to or not able to accomplish. Always bet on yourself. And I think what I would tell is the story of when I started working, a lot of people wanted me to change my gap. I have a gap in my teeth. She said, no, sister gap sister over here. Wanted me to close my gap because they thought I wouldn't be able to work. And, you know, I remember meeting someone who was really trying to push that. And I had come to terms with my smile when I was a senior in high school, and I thought, I have a beautiful smile. I don't need to change anything about myself. And I didn't think that the gap would be the thing to stop me from working. And thankfully, Suzanne Crazy Eyes Warren didn't think so either. So. Another question from Jessica DeLeon. What personal lessons from school/education do you still use today? This is a great question because I think it circles back to earlier we were discussing being involved in different arenas. A lesson that I use now in my career actually came from my college coach. I ran track and field at Boston University, #proud to be you. And And my coach there said to me, Uzo, always focus on your lane. Focus on your race. You get in these blocks, you look to the finish line, the person to your left, to your right, has no effect on your race. Do you know how much time you lose thinking about what somebody else is doing, how far behind they are? In track and field, you lose exactly 1/10 of a second. And 1/10 of a second in a 100-meter dash isn't the difference between first and second, it's the difference between first and last. So focus on your own race. Do what you do. Looking at someone else's race is not going to help carry you over the line. Your legs are going to. So focus on what you're doing. And I still use that today. So watching this video and these amazing young girls and their lip sync to Beyonce has been incredible. So I just want to say thank you to director MJ Delaney, who is here in the house, who made that video. MJ Delaney, can you stand up for us, please? She is here in the house. She put that all together. It was amazing, truly phenomenal, phenomenal. And it was so beautiful to see those girls all from all around the world representing their countries. And like I told you earlier, I'm from Nigeria, and I want to say one more thing to you young ladies. My family is from Nigeria, and sometimes you can take what your differences are and think that those perhaps are a hindrance or a holdback or be made to feel as though they are. But those unique identity traits are the things that in fact make you special. Those are the things that make you stand out and never cloud your special. My family named me Uza Amaka. That's my full name. It means the road is good. Isn't that a beautiful name? Thanks, Mom. I got it for my birthday. Uza Amaka. But I grew up in a small New England town, and there weren't a lot of Nigerian Americans living in my region. And I would have teachers or anyone, neighbors, try and say my name, and it would be Azumeka, Uzamaka, Uzokuza, any version that they could think of other than Uzamaka. So I came home from school one day, and my mom was cooking in the kitchen, as she is wont to do, the mother of 5 children. And I said to her, Mommy, can I ask you a question? She said, I said, can you call me Zoe? And she stopped and gave that mother look that only mothers know and have, and said, why? And I said, because no one can say Uza Amaka. And she looked at me and she said, if they can learn to say Tchaikovsky and Michelangelo and Dostoevsky, then they can learn to say Uza Amaka. And I never asked her again. And what is amazing now, standing in my womanhood, in my power, is I wouldn't change my name for a second. I'm so proud of that name and what stems behind it and what it represents. So do not ever erase those identifiers that are held in you, whether it's your gap, whether it's your name, whether it's your food. It is yours, and it was given to you at birth, and it is yours to own. So, while we're feeling connected to our fellow girls around the world, I want you to please welcome our next special speaker. She was born in Tanzania and raised in Canada. Here, a neighbor to the north. Here is Maybelline's New York spokesmodel, Henrieth Paul.
Your energy. Hi. Thank you. Thank you so much. I could feel all your energy backstage. I'm honestly so happy and grateful to be here. Thank you all so much. So I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit about myself and where I grew up. I grew up in Tanzania. It's a country in East Africa where education is actually a rare privilege. And when I was in kindergarten, I used to wake up every single day at 4 in the morning and ride the bus for 2 hours just to get to school. And I remember I'd get home around 8 or 9 p.m. And there were so many kids in my neighborhood that had to drop out of school because their parents just could not afford to send them to school anymore. But I was so fortunate that my parents were able to send me to a boarding school, which I started in the 1st grade. My mother worked in the government, and she was also an advisor at this orphanage. It's called the Kiwalani Orphanage Center. And there was a girl there, and her name was Happiness. And actually, that's actually a pretty common name in Tanzania. And Happiness lost her parents at such a young age, but she was so hopeful, she was so full of life, and she worked very hard. And when I turned 11 years old, my family and I moved to Canada because my mom became a diplomat. I knew I would miss my family at the orphanage center. So I wanted to say to them that I was going to miss them. I have been so fortunate to be able to travel around the world as a model, and I'm so fortunate to be able to represent African women on the runway. I was very thrilled when Maybelline New York selected me to be one of their spokesmodels because they truly believe in the power of women and young girls. I wanted to study journalism when I go back to school because I think writing is a very powerful tool. I want to write about my experiences as a model. I also want to write about the children at the Kiwalani Orphanage Center, and I would also love to advocate for education in underprivileged countries. I think all children deserve to go to school. So throughout the years, Happiness and we kept in touch, and I am proud to say she has just graduated high school with honors. And soon she will be attending university on a full scholarship. And with everything Happiness has been through, losing her parents at such a young age, she is still hopeful, and this just shows you her strength and her limitless future. In your daily life, I want you all guys to remember to always do as Happiness did. Find strength in school. Learning will help shape your future and your perspective on life. As my favorite writer and president once said, Nelson Mandela, he said, education is the most powerful tool on which you can use to change the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Henrieth. Got to do a check-in now, ladies. How are we feeling? Aren't these women just incredible? I hope they are serving to be the inspiration that you need to take with you back out into the world to continue to rise, to continue to become the powerful beings that you are. So, I'm going to talk to the people at home or not at home, walking on the streets, since you can take your phone with you anywhere. Please keep sending your comments and questions in for the live stream. Remember to keep #Glamour4EDU along with your questions so that we can take time to answer them. Now, I want to welcome a singer-songwriter and philanthropist who released this song last year on International Women's Day. She originally hails from Trinidad. Ooh, yes. Please give it up for Tennille Amor.
I am a girl, I am a queen. I can be anything I wanna be. Woman of the world, living my dreams.
Get up on your feet. Get up, get up, get up, get up.
I am a girl.
I am a girl. Everybody up, come on.
I am a girl.
Everybody up. I am a girl, I am a queen. I can be anything I wanna be. Woman of the world, living my dreams. I'm gonna show you what I can achieve. I am a girl, I am a queen. I can be anything I wanna be. Woman of the world, living my dreams. I'm gonna show you what I can achieve.
tell me I'm not gonna make it. Ha! Watch, cause I'm not gonna quit. Nah, climbing up the ladder every day, I'm getting better. One day you're gonna have to face it. Yeah, I don't need you holding my hand. Nah, I can jump as high as you can. Yeah, I'm not saying I do it better, there's no need to try and measure. I'm just saying that I know where I stand. Come on! I am a girl, I am a queen. I can be anything I wanna be. Woman of the world, living my dreams. I'm gonna show you what I can achieve. I am a girl, I am a queen. I can be anything I wanna be. Woman of the world, living my dreams. I'm gonna show you what I can achieve. I am a girl, I am a girl. I am a girl, I am a girl. Wisdom in the words that I speak. All I'm asking for is equality. Yeah, if you're being superficial, then we're gonna have some issues. Cause no, I am not always pretty. Tell me I'm the chance to choose. It's my life, so I play by my rules. I'm your daughter, I'm your mother, I'm your sister, I'm your lover. Come walk a mile in my shoes. Sing it! I am a girl, I am a queen. I can be anything I wanna be. Woman of the world, living my dreams. I'm gonna show you what I can achieve. I am a girl, I am a queen. I can be anything I wanna be. Woman of the world, living my dreams. I'm gonna show you what I can achieve. I am a girl. Let me hear you. I am a girl. I am a girl. I am a girl. Don't keep me locked in your boxes, I'm gonna break free. I got the strength of an army, I'm ready to lead. Wild and courageous, passionate, gracious and deep. Bold and creative, there's so many layers to me. Everybody, let me hear you. I am a girl, I am a queen. I can be anything I wanna be. Woman of the world, living my dreams. I'm gonna show you what I can achieve. I am a girl, I am a queen. I can be anything I wanna be. Woman of the world, living my dreams. I'm gonna show you what I can achieve. Thank you. Bless.
Yes. Let's give it up one more time for Tennille Amor. Those words are inspiring and powerful. So, you've had all of us up here speaking to you about the power of an educated girl. No, but you're gonna get up. I wanna ask the question back to you. What is the power of an educated girl to you? What does that mean to any of you? If you have a thought, come on over. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Why is that important? Hi, what's your name?
My name is Mia. My name is Mia, and I'm with the Lower East Side Girls Club.
Okay. Why is an educated girl important to you?
To me, it's important because a lot of guys, like I get put down a lot for at school because of what I want to do and what I want to be when I grow up. And, you know, when you're educated and you have like the right mindset of what you want to be, you can prove anyone wrong who doesn't believe in you. And like I talk about what I want to be with people. And like right now, I'm in honors right now and I'm trying to and I'm trying to stay there, but like I get like a lot of boys coming up to me. I'm like, oh, you're a girl, so you can't do this, this, and this. And I'm like, you know what? And I'm a girl that's gonna prove you wrong when I get older. So goodbye.
So what would you say? How old are you?
I'm 11. I'm 12. Sorry, 12. Whoa! I just turned 12. So yeah.
So what would you tell younger girls? What would you tell younger girls so that they can keep reaching for their dreams?
I would tell younger girls that always keep your head up high no matter what happens, no matter like what things, like negative things you're going through in your life right now, and always stay focused in school and always like have a goal set for you, and you know, try to like go above and beyond of what you want to do so you could prove anyone wrong who says otherwise.
I love that. Thank you, Mia. Thank you, Mia. Does anybody else have a thought? Just here. Come on down. We have a representative from Girls Inc. here. And what's your name?
Kaylee.
Kaylee. And why do you think it's important for girls to be educated?
I feel like it's important for girls to be educated because we are the future, we are the next generation of people. And I feel like whenever a boy tries to put you down or whenever anybody tries to put you down, they say, oh, you throw like a girl, you hit like a girl, you write like a girl, you do anything like a girl. But the thing is, we are girls. That's the point. We should be able to hit like a girl. That's what we are. We shouldn't be able to do anything less or anything more.
That's right. That's right. Thank you. Thank you. We'll take one from you. And what is your name?
My name is Nika, and I'm from the Forest Hills High School Girl Up.
Yes. Welcome, Nika. And why do you think it's important for girls to be educated?
So education is very important, and I adamantly believe that it broadens the spectrum of our mentality and our minds.
That's incredible. And how old are you, Nika?
I am currently 16 years old.
16 years old. And do you have any thoughts on what you want to do when you get older?
I want to continue with my philanthropic work and advocacy with Girl Up, and I want to be a lawyer.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Nika. Thank you, Nika. And I think you guys, these voices that we heard, these are your peers. These are the voices out in the world that are changing. These are the seeds that are planting to become the trees to change the world. And that's what makes me so proud again to be here today. Your voices are just so powerful and so inspiring, and they're going out into the world today to inspire and empower other young women, and that's what we are here to do. It's incredible. Let's take one more question, one more thought. Come on, stand up. Join us. Join us. What is your name?
I'm Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Hi.
Stephanie, where are you from?
I'm from New Design High School Girl Up.
Okay. And why do you think it's important for young girls to be educated?
Because everybody has the same mindset. It's all about learning the same thing. And I feel like a boy and a girl can learn the same thing. And a girl could even be smarter than a boy one day. Like, it's happened. And I feel like they just have to be more open-minded and understand that, like, you're not the only one that can do that.
Yeah. And how old are you?
I'm 17.
17. So what year is that in school?
I'm a senior.
You're a senior. Do you have plans for the next year?
Yes, I want to go to Columbia, and I want to major in biology, pre-med. So, yes. Yeah.
A doctor in the building. A doctor in the building. Of course, of course. I think we might have time for one more. One more question. Do we have someone from that end? Right there. Yes. Two questions from that end. What's your name? You came down here like you were on The Price is Right. What's your name?
My name is Kayla. How y'all doing?
Kayla. And why do you think it's important to educate young girls?
I think to educate young girls is so important because nowadays they think girls don't have the knowledge and the power to rule the world, but we do. And you gotta understand that when girls have knowledge, they have an intelligence, and they have a different perspective on life, and that perspective is gonna carry you forward.
Amen. Yeah. And what's your name?
My name is Jadira. I'm from Tours, Brooklyn.
And Jadira, why do you think it's important for us to be here to talk about educating young girls?
I think education is important because we always have an open mindset to become who we are and what we want to become in the future. We are the next generation, of course. And also, there's some people that's going to be doubtful to think that you're just a girl, you're not going to do anything that we want to be. But actually, we can, unless you're open-minded, you open your mind, you try your best, and improve a lot than what you did before. Just don't think about the past. Just focus on the future. Focus what you want to be.
How old are you, Jadira?
14.
How was?
14.
How old are you, Kayla?
17.
17. This is the future. Thank you so much, Jadira. Thank you so much, Kayla. Thank you, young ladies. Really, truly inspirational, special moment. We are going to welcome back onto the stage our incredible editor-in-chief of Glamour magazine, who has made this all possible. Well, give it up for Cindy one more time, y'all.
Give it up for Uzo. Does she need her own talk show or what? Can we make this happen? Come on. So, we've danced, we've cheered, we sang along to Freedom, that was awesome, and we've heard from some amazing women. But I really believe this. Women can't truly succeed without men who believe in us and share our vision of equality. Good guys who are really going to have our back and want what's best for us. They do exist. And we're lucky to have one of those upstanding guys here with us today, U.S. Senator Cory Booker from the great state of New Jersey. He's going to share a little bit of his story with us, and then we're going to bring back Yara, and then they'll answer a few of your questions together. But first, here's your Cory Booker 411. He studied at Stanford and Oxford and got his law degree at Yale. He could have taken, I know, la-di-da, he could have taken some fancy law firm gig, but instead, he lived in the projects in Newark, became a tenants' rights lawyer, ran for city council, and eventually became mayor, determined to rehabilitate the city he loved. Now, as a U.S. Senator, he's fighting to improve schools on a state and federal level. He also, fun fact, happens to be a vegan, animal-loving former football player who loves sci-fi and Pixar cartoons. Senator Booker has 3.5 million Twitter followers, and apparently he was shocked to discover that iPads weren't allowed on the Senate floor, and he got right to changing that rule. This senator is a fierce defender of our rights, all our rights. Women, people of color, immigrants, the incarcerated. Too many politicians are all talk. Senator Booker is all about action. Please welcome Senator Cory Booker. Have fun.
Hello, everybody. Hello. So I can feel the energy in this room. You guys are incredible. I am so grateful to be here, and I have to say I'm very excited to meet Yara in a few moments and have her interview me, but I thought I would share with you all a little bit about why I look at you and I feel a sense of hope and possibility for our country, and really what some of my journey was. Now, I'm a kid that grew up in New Jersey. I'm very proud of that. Some Jersey in the house, I see. And, oh, all right. Newark. Okay, now my heart is really breaking. Well, so I had parents that grew up in the South. They grew up during the Civil Rights Movement and were raising my brother and I to understand that, hey, your life is not defined by your personal accomplishments, but by your willingness to do for other people. And so by the time I was finishing law school, my parents were teasing me. They're like, oh, son, you got all these degrees and stuff like that. You got to actually do something with your life. It's not about studying all the time. And so I took my law degree and I decided to move into the city that I love, that I lived there for the last 20 years, into Newark, New Jersey. But I decided actually to look for a neighborhood that was struggling, to find a neighborhood where there were a lot of challenges. And I moved on to the south end of Martin Luther King Boulevard in Newark in the 1990s. Now at this time, when I moved there, it was a tough neighborhood. There was lots of crime. I would hear gunshots at night. In fact, when I was moving my stuff in, I went up to my room to move my stuff into this apartment I was renting, or this room I was renting. I came back and my stuff was stolen, and I was just like, gosh. And I ended up moving across the street from a place called Brick Towers. It doesn't even stand there anymore, but it's you know where I'm talking about. These two high-rises, low-income housing, eventually public housing. And in the time I was living there, there was an abandoned building next to me where people would go and use drugs, and I was just overwhelmed by the challenges on the streets. And here I was, still a law student, and thinking to myself, this is how I want to make a difference, but I just couldn't get over the challenges. Now, it was around this time that somebody told me, if you're gonna make a difference in this neighborhood, you gotta meet the tenant president in this building. And what I found in Newark is that so many of the great leaders in our grassroots were always these powerful women who many times were the strength that kept blocks and buildings and neighborhoods together. And so I go up, this young law student with a little bit of swagger and self-importance, and I knock on her door, and I hear this like voice. It sounds like a linebacker. It's like, who is it? And I go, it's Cory Booker. And I felt like I was somebody special. I'm like, it's Cory Booker. And the door opens, and I'm looking like 6'3", thinking it's gonna be this giant of a person. And then it's just this woman, this elderly woman, about 5 feet and a smidgen tall. And I'm like looking at her, and little did I know, this was one of the most powerful people I was about to meet in my life. And you know, I always say I got my BA from Stanford University, but my PhD in the streets of Newark. And this was the person that was my best professor. And she looks at me and she goes, what do you want? And I explained to her, I'm Cory Booker, I'm here to help you. And she looks at me like I was some kind of John Wayne riding on a white horse. You think you're gonna help me? She gave me this look like, you're the one that needs help, young man. And we talked for a while, and then she did something. She says to me, if you really wanna help me, follow me. And so next thing I know, she grabs me and she says, come downstairs. She locks her door. We walk down 5 flights of stairs in this big building. We walk through the courtyard, through the steps, and onto the middle of Martin Luther King Boulevard. And she wheels around and she looks up at me and she says, if you want to help me, you got to tell me what you see around you. And I'm like confused. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she goes, if you want to help me, describe what you see. And I said, okay, well, I see an abandoned building. I see graffiti. I just described the neighborhood just like I described it to you. A place with challenges, problems, I described it. But the more that I was talking, the more angry this woman looked. And she started shaking her head. And finally, when I finished, she just says, you can't help me. And she turns around and she starts walking away from me. And I'm so confused. I run after her. I grab her from behind, very respectfully, mind you. And I said, what are you talking about? And then she looks at me, and even though I'm like much taller than her, she looks at me and she says, boy, you need to understand something. The world you see outside of you is a reflection of what you have inside of you. If you're one of those people who only sees problems and darkness and despair, that's all there's ever going to be. But if you're one of those stubborn people who every time you open your eyes, you see hope, you see possibility, you see love, you see the face of God, then you can be one of those people that helps me. And she walks away from me. And I was just standing there looking at her walk away from me, looking at my feet, thinking to myself, okay, grasshopper, thus endeth the lesson. Well, I started to come back to her apartment. I came correct this time. I left my ego aside, and I just looked at her and started learning from her. Literally, I would just sit in her apartment and watch as people would come to her apartment with lots of issues in the community, in the neighborhood. I watched how she found ways to help people out no matter what. Sometimes she would lecture and scold them. She wasn't easy, but if somebody needs some help with the rent or fighting with the slumlord, I watched how this was a center of action, how her and other tenant leaders, almost all women, would sit together and plan and plot about how they were going to fight for their community and their building. Eventually, I got my law degree and I started helping them as their lawyer, and literally she started to raise me up in my life of activism. It was her that was one of the people that made the decision about what I was going to do. I still remember the conversation I started having with her. She started talking about how bad City Hall was and how she felt there needed to be a change. And they started talking, yeah, we need to run somebody for city council. And before you knew it, she was pointing at me and says, we're going to run you for city council. And I'm like, well, that's not my plan. I'm going to be a lawyer. I've got a fellowship. It's a 2-year fellowship. And Miss Jones was like, what are you here for, boy? You here to help the community, or are you here to do what you want to do? And I said, I'm here to help the community. And she was one of these people that helped me realize that life is about purpose. It's not about position. A lot of us are going to have lots of different jobs, but the most important thing is having a purpose in your life. And that purpose, you're going to find positions that are going to come and go. And in fact, she was one of those people that helped me understand that sometimes it's not always easy going after something that might not have immediately thought to be something that you wanted, but to take a chance, to take a risk, to jump into the unknown. And I've come to learn that the definition of faith that I have is that when you come to the end of all the light you know, and you're about to step into the darkness, faith is knowing one of the two things is going to happen. Either you're going to find solid ground underneath you, or the universe will send you people who will teach you how to fly. And so Miss Jones was one of those people. She helped me. I got elected. I won an election, becoming the youngest person ever elected in my city at a municipal level in my 20s. And then, don't applaud, because I get this job as a city council person and everything goes wrong. I mean, I'm not getting anything done. I'm this young person. There are people on the council 30, 40 years older than me, and they're not letting me pass anything. And the mayor of the city is making my life so difficult. In fact, he was ticketing my car everywhere I parked and when I parked with the other council people. And I just couldn't believe how hard this was getting. I couldn't make a change. I couldn't make a difference. And then one day, after a year of just frustration and thinking I made a mistake getting into politics, I get a call from the northern part of my city, the area of the city I represented, in a place called Garden Spires. And the tenant president there, another older African-American woman who was just a powerful leader, calls me up and says, Cory, you got to get up here. It's like the Wild Wild West. There just had to been a violent incident, shootings. She's like, you got to do something. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. She's like, well, get the police out here. And I'm like, I can't get the police to stop ticketing my car. How am I going to get them up there? And so she starts getting angry with me. Well, why did we elect you in the first place if you can't do anything? And I kept giving her excuses that I couldn't do anything, that I was powerless, that I was in this office, but I couldn't get anything done. And we start arguing with each other, and finally, I was raising my voice at my elder. And before you know it, my anger and my frustration for not being able to get anything done was coming out on her, and before you knew it, we hung up on each other. And now I am angry. I leave City Hall, and I'm walking back to the where I was living now in the brick towers and these buildings, and I get out of my car, and there is the last person I want to see, because all I wanted to do was to get to my room and hang out in a sensual embrace with my two buddies, Ben and Jerry. And I am walking right to my buildings, and I see the person I don't want to see, and that is Miss Virginia Jones. Now she, again, is this leader of these buildings standing outside like a sentinel, surveying her territory, and I decided I got to get past this woman. I do not need any of her wisdom right now. I just want to go home. And so I start walking past her, and I just grumble at her, hi, Miss Jones. And I walk past, and she just let me walk past her, and then when I get about 4 or 5 feet away, she goes, don't you just walk past me, boy. And I stop in my tracks, and I swing around, I'm angry, and then she just like looks at me, and she reads me real quick, and decides how she's gonna deal with me, and she goes, come over here and give Miss Jones a hug. And I'm just like, oh. And I walk over there, and I hug her insincere, you know, like when you break up with somebody and you say you're just gonna still be friends, you know? And I let go, and she goes, now tell Miss Jones what's wrong. And I'm like, you wanna know what's wrong? And she's like, yeah, tell me what's wrong. And I just unloaded on her a year's worth of frustration. Why did I get into politics? I couldn't make a difference. Nothing was changing. I was so angry. Then I told her about the problems in Garden Spires, that there was violence up there in the community, there was problems they were having, and I didn't know what to do. And I must have repeated it 3 times. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And by the 3rd time I repeated it, suddenly Miss Jones goes, oh, like she had gotten some insight, and I stopped talking. She goes, I know what you should do. And I'm excited. Maybe she does have an answer to my problems. And I'm like, what should I do, Miss Jones? And she goes, yep, I know what you should do. And I'm like, I heard you the first time. What should I do? And she crosses her arms. She thinks for a second. She goes, yep, I know exactly what you should do. And I'm like, Miss Jones, what should I do? And she looks at me and she goes, you? And I lean a little further forward. She goes, you should? And I go, yeah, yeah. And she goes, you should do? I'm like, yeah. And she goes, you should do something. I'm like, I'm like, what? She goes, you should do something. And I get so angry, I explode. I swing right around and I storm to my buildings. And I don't know if you all know this. I think God has dominion over the earth, except for maybe one place, which is public housing elevators, because they never work. And so I hike 16 flights. I sit down and I'm about to give up. I'm done. I want to quit politics. I'm angry at the world, angry at Miss Jones. And then I'm thinking for myself for a second. And I still remember there's this Bible there, and I opened it, and it says something in there like faith the size of a mustard seed. You can move mountains. And then it said something else about fasting and prayer. And I started thinking about it, meditating on it. And I thought to myself, oh, I can't stand Miss Jones. She's right. I hadn't really tried. And so I sat there and thought for a second, what am I going to do? And an idea came to me, and I called up my aide, and I said to him, let's get a tent. And he's like, what? And I said, let's get a tent. And we got this big tent, and we set it up right at Garden Spires, right where a lot of the drug trade was going on. And Elaine Sewell, the tenant president, comes out, and she sees what we're doing, and I walk up to her, and I apologize to her. And say sorry for disrespecting her and raising my voice. And literally, she just hugs me. She doesn't even let me finish my apology. And there may have been some tears on my part. And then I say, look, I don't know what I'm going to do about the problems here, but I'm going to do something. And I said, I'm going to bring a tent here, and I'm going to live in that tent till we figure something out. And I'm going to fast. I'm not going to eat any food. And I'm wondering if you'll do something. Would you pray with me every morning? And she agrees, and then I decide to do something that politicians are really good at. You guys should learn this. I held a press conference and told this to the United States of America. How can we have places where people live in fear? And next thing you know, we camp under the tent. The first night was really difficult. About 4 or 5 of us were sleeping there. People were throwing things off the top of the building. They were upset that we had just lay out in the middle of their territory. But the next morning I wake up and these big guys come to the tent and they go, are you Cory Booker? And I go, yeah. He goes, well, we saw you on the news. We're correctional officers. We're not going to let you stand out here alone. And next thing you know, during that day, dozens of people were coming out to the tent. Community leaders and neighborhood folks all saying, hey, if you're going to be out here, we're going to stand out here with you. By the next day, more people came out. The next day, you suddenly had hospitals coming out to do health screenings for the community. You started having job companies, UPS and others, setting up and doing job fairs. People started donating computers to the rec room. Before you knew it, hundreds and hundreds of folks were coming out. Some guy from over here in New York saw us on the news and sent like 50 pizzas out to feed everybody, which I was really angry about because I was on a hunger strike. But by the 10th day of us being out there, the mayor of the city came out. And this was my adversary, but you know what? After 10 days of praying with the community, standing with the community, doing everything from gospel concerts, I didn't see him as an enemy. I saw him as just another human being. I still remember he had these prepared remarks as if he was going to give some speech, but me and the mayor just hugged. And I remember hugging him close. I had never touched him before. I never hugged him in that way. And I remember smelling him and thinking, God, he smells just like members of my family. And the mayor turns around and says, we're taking down this tent because I'm going to bring police out to this community and I'm going to build a park right here. Now, the end of the story is not that great because the mayor brought police out. They stayed for a while, but eventually the police left and problems came back. He never built a park like he promised, and it would take about 10 years later till I became mayor and I built a park. But that's not the reason for the story. That's not the reason for the story. Really, what I want to end with is this simple moment. We all decided when the tent came down, we were going to pray. And it was amazing that you had about 200-300 plus people standing in a circle. And what was great there is there were believers and non-believers. There were young folk and elderly folk and middle-aged folk. There were black folk and white folk and Latino folk and Asian folk. There were rabbis and imams and priests and ministers. And as we all held hands, it was one of the weakest I'd ever felt physically, 10 days of not eating solid food. But when I held hands in that circle, it was the strongest I had ever felt in my life. And as I looked at that scene of America around me, I realized that this is what is strong about our country. And as I heard people speaking in Spanish and in Arabic and in Hebrew, I started to hear the words of our country ringing in my ears. Whether it was the words of an old African parable that says, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. Whether it was the words of a wonderful Hebrew phrase, Ki beiti beit tefillah l'chocholmim, may my house be a house of prayer for all nations. I heard the ideals of a minister named Martin Luther King who said, we are all caught in an inescapable network of mutuality tied in a common garment of destiny. And I heard 3 words from a dead language that are the hallmark of a young country. Those simple 3 words, e pluribus unum, out of many the one. Miss Jones lived to see me be mayor of the city and helped me get to where I am today. Because she knew 2 things. She knew 2 things very powerfully. One is that all of us have the power to transform our communities if we're willing to do something. And standing for our country and standing for our community, standing for each other, that is powerful. But when we find ways to join together with others, that is a force that can truly transform the world. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Senator Booker. How great was that? That was wonderful. So we're going to welcome Yara Shahidi back out to the stage. Here's a little warning, mostly for you. The last time I moderated a conversation with Yara, it was Yara and First Lady Michelle Obama.
Nice to meet you.
And Yara so impressed Michelle Obama with her poise and her intelligence, you're in the middle, while we were on stage, that Mrs. Obama offered on the spot to write her a college recommendation, which I think she did, correct?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
So girls, always show your stuff. That's the moral of that story. Do you 2 know each other, by the way?
This is our first time.
Actually meeting, but I'm a fan.
Yeah.
It is mutual. This is exciting for me. Thank you very much.
Do you watch Blackish?
I do watch Blackish religiously.
Thank you.
And I found out last week you could sing. You had a really good voice.
Goodness. That episode was interesting because they surprised us. They were like, guess what? You're singing and dancing. And I was like, this is what I do in the shower, but not in public. But it went well.
It went really well. I was really impressed.
All right.
Thank you.
So we're going to take some questions from the audience, and I want to start with Narissa. Hi, Narissa. Narissa is here from Girls Inc., as you can see from her T-shirt. Take it away.
Yeah. Hi, Yara. Hi, Senator Booker.
Can you tell me where you're from?
I'm from.
Do you live in New York? Do you live in New Jersey?
I'm from New York. I'm from Brooklyn originally.
You're from Brooklyn.
Grew up in Queens.
And you grew up in Queens. Yeah. Fantastic.
This question is for you. Can you tell me about some of the improvements you've been making in our schools that are keeping girls like me on track for college?
Wow. So in my work as a mayor of Newark, I did a lot of work in our schools, and I'm really proud of the gains my young people in Newark have made. Graduations have gone up, rates have gone up dramatically. In fact, if you're an African-American kid in Newark, from the time I was mayor till now, your chances of going to a high-performing school went up 300%. And so on a citywide level, thanks to a lot of work of a lot of people, Newark schools have really been moving, and I've learned a lot of lessons. But now on the federal level, now I'm a U.S. Senator representing the whole state of New Jersey, and frankly, I try to work on behalf of kids all over our country. We really have a crisis in our country when it comes to education, because the most valuable natural resource America has in a global knowledge-based economy is not oil, it's not gas, it's not coal, it's the genius of our young people. And genius is equally distributed. There's many geniuses born in Brooklyn and Newark and Patterson as there are in Beverly Hills and other wealthier neighborhoods that often have better access to high-quality schools. And they have access to things that often help you achieve better. Like there are still millions of Americans that don't have access to broadband and the internet. There are still kids growing up in environments like in many New Jersey schools where they can't even drink the water coming out of the water fountains because there's lead in it, which directly affects kids' learning abilities. And so I fight for lots of things on the federal level, from trying to get young people better access to the internet, to trying to deal with the environmental issues that often undermine kids from learning, and something I really push is to try to get more young girls access to STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and math.
Yara, I want to ask you about education too, because I think, you referenced Beverly Hills. I think sometimes there's a misconception that, like, listen, if you're an actress, you don't need your education, and you have very passionately said that you believe otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I've been acting my entire academic career, and I've wanted to go to college longer than I've wanted to be on a show. I kind of tripped into it, which was a lucky accident. But I mean, I was in kindergarten asking my grandfather to be my roommate when I go to school. Wow. So I was planning ahead. But yeah, when I started Blackish, it was during my sophomore year of high school, and I started to look into other programs just because I was at an all-girls school, and it was just the distance caused a bit of a fracture. Love the all-girls school, always repping, Immaculate Heart. And I think what was interesting was when I was looking at a lot of programs, there were non-collegiate routes, which meant by the age of 14, you were to have made the decision that college was not in your future. But more than that, that meant if you decided by the age of 17 or 18, when you got to senior year, that it was something that you wanted to actually do, you didn't have enough credits for it, nor the ability to get credits without taking extra classes, which could have easily taken I don't know how long. And so I was doing 20 hours of schoolwork on the weekend and easily 4 to 5 hours of school after I'd get back from work. But it was so worth it because I love school and I am a proud nerd and geek, and it's just so fulfilling because I think history is why I enjoy acting and literature is why I appreciate storytelling. And so it really did motivate everything else that I do.
So can I ask you that, because I joke all the time that I got into Stanford University because of our 4.0 and 1600, 4.0 yards per carry, 1600 receiving yards. I got in on a football scholarship. And it was very interesting to me having what equated to a full-time job playing football and having to do college. And it takes a tremendous work ethic. And it just sounds like you had to do what a lot of your peers weren't doing in order to advance in school.
Yes and no, in that what I realized is that even though being an actor, it's a very niche thing to be like, I was acting during high school, but when I started to talk to a lot of my friends, we were enduring a lot of the same things, whether it was I have friends that were in sports while they were in school, or were really active within their community while they were in school. And many times, even school itself is like juggling a full-time job. And so as specific as my situation seemed, it was actually fairly universal in just how much work we're putting in to keep up in school and to excel.
I think we have another question here from Anisha. Hi, Anisha.
Hi, I'm Anisha. I'm with Choose the First here.
All right.
And my question is
And do you live in Brooklyn or Manhattan, or do you have the grace of living in New Jersey?
Sorry, I'm a New Yorker.
Sorry.
I'm from Brooklyn, but I live in Staten Island. And my question
Which
is
is kind of New Jersey anyway. I mean, come on.
Watch it. I strongly disagree. But my question is for Yara, and I was just wondering, how do you prioritize supporting an issue globally versus locally when, especially with girls' education, when there are girls in the United States that don't have an education?
That's an interesting question. I think part of it comes from, one, again, my love of history. I'm half black, half Iranian, and so I have family globally. Selfishly, that means I would love to help people globally. But I think also what's been ingrained in me from a very young age from my family is the idea that we rise together. And so there is this idea that national boundaries basically dictate who we should care for and who we should care about. And even this idea that the structure that we live in tells us that our success basically depends on somebody else's failure in order to prove that I have been successful, versus erasing this idea that my success is tied to nothing else but the success of the people around me and my ability to help contribute to said success. And I think because of that, that's why I'm so passionate about helping everyone globally, because it isn't just a states issue. Yes, it is a big states issue, but girls worldwide don't have access to education. Girls worldwide are going through the same problems, and there's nothing more powerful than realizing how similar we are and the power of our numbers.
You must get, Senator Booker, you must get versions of that question frequently yourself too. Why invest overseas when there are so many pressing needs here?
Well, Yara said it. I mean, there's an illusion of separateness in many ways that we create, where we don't understand that our destinies are far more interwoven than we understand. And there's programs that I fight for in the State Department that fund the health in countries far and wide. But health crises don't understand borders, and often we saw this with things like Ebola or Zika, that they threaten humanity, they don't threaten us. But I think even more importantly, the point that she's making is, there's a great philosopher who once said, love of country is a wonderful thing, but why should love stop at our borders? And we have to understand that our humanity is deeply invested in the dignity and humanity of others. And if the dignity and humanity of others is being undermined, it actually is, by us doing nothing, it's a reflection of our own dignity and humanity. And so I just believe that the opposite of justice is not injustice. The opposite of justice is inaction and indifference. And so right now on the planet Earth, we're seeing something that we've never seen before. There are levels of refugee crises going on our planet that we've just never seen this many people having to flee their homeland. And as much as attention is given to Syria, which is a real crisis, we're having more of a refugee problem in the Congo than we're having in Syria right now. And in fact, there are famines. We have 4 major famines going on the planet Earth right now, from Somalia to South Sudan to Yemen. And so for me, for us as Americans to only be looking inward and not understanding the crisis that humanity is facing, it is, if we do that, it is more a mark of who we are as a country than we come to realize. And so my hope for everybody here is that we don't look at the world, and sometimes we allow our inability to do everything to undermine our determination to do something. And just by taking a journey, and I'm doing this myself, of trying to be more conscious, it might even be something small, like understanding that where does the clothing I buy come from, and how might it be participating in the oppression of people far away from me? Or what about the food that I eat? And I was meeting with some activists in North Carolina yesterday, and most people don't understand this, but because of the billions of animals that are necessary just to feed America, we're losing miles and miles of rainforest just to clear land to raise these animals. But in America, I was in a low-lying area in North Carolina called Duplin County, a traditional African-American community. But because we have to kill so many pigs in our country, these industrial animal agricultural groups have located in these low-lying, traditionally African-American areas. And because pigs, most people don't know this, I'm sorry you didn't think we'd be going there today, but we're going here. Pigs produce 10 times the effluents that human beings do. And so they have nowhere to put it because it would literally poison our rivers and our lakes if we just let that run off. So they create these massive lagoons. So just picture me in North Carolina in this traditionally black area, looking at these spray fields where they take these lagoons full of pig waste, spray them on the fields, and I watch the mist from the spray carry into black communities. And so I met with these activists who can't open their windows, who can't run their air conditioning, have respiratory diseases and cancers, all because they've located these things in their areas. And again, what can I do to stop that? Well, I'm a United States Senator, I might be able to do more, but you can think consciously about, well, before I make a decision to buy things that are contributing to the pain and suffering of others, maybe I can make more responsible decisions, because the most common way we vote in America is actually not at the election box, but we vote with our consumer choices every day. And so our little bit of being more enlightened, and then sharing that enlightenment in ways that generations past couldn't. Hey, posting on Facebook, hey, did you hear about the crisis down in North Carolina in these communities? You actually expand consciousness. And I'll tell you right now, there are so many people right on Madison Avenue, marketers, who are really trying to clue in right now to what you all are thinking in your age bracket because of the consumer power you have. And so just by becoming more woke to a lot of these issues, you can shape what society is doing and actually change industries and industry practices to bring more justice to people in faraway places like North Carolina.
Oh, fascinating. We have another question from the audience, but Senator Booker, first I want to ask you a question just tied to what's been happening sort of in the headlines this week. And I ask it as both a woman and also as the mother of a 14-year-old daughter, not too much younger than a lot of the girls in this room. You gave back campaign donations that had been given to you by the producer Harvey Weinstein after allegations of sexual harassment and assault came out against him this week. And we know, obviously this is not a new topic to be in our headlines. Even the president had bragged last fall of sexual assaults on tape. And you're a man in a position of power. I worry about the message, I'm sure I'm not the only one, that this sends to girls and young women about what men expect of them and what rights they have to stand up and be heard. And I wonder if you, on behalf of men in power, if that's a role you're willing to play, can talk to these girls about what their rights are and what they should make of the stories they might be reading right now.
So, I mean, this is so reprehensible, but one of the things that sort of bothers me about this story, first of all, I'm happy it's coming out, and God bless the courage of many of the women who are willing to speak out about it. But if we start acting when we see horrific moments like this, as if this is some anomaly and not still a major problem in our society, then I think we fail to motivate the necessary energy to stop it. And this goes in areas of harassment, all the way to issues of, I was telling a group today that things like Flint, Michigan, we get all excited about it, which is rightful, but it's not. There are 1,000 jurisdictions in America with kids with lead poisoning their blood greater than this. But this is a major issue in our society when it comes to sexual assault, sexual harassment, and it's far more prevalent than we know. And the way we often deal with survivors of sexual assault is horrific to me in this society. I visited a women's prison recently, a federal prison in Danbury, Connecticut, and this amazing warden, as I'm walking in, and I asked her how many women here are victims, or survivors rather, of sexual trauma. And she stops, and this tough professional suddenly looks very vulnerable to me, and she looks at me and she goes, I think about 95% of my women. We hyper incarcerate women who have been victims of sexual violence or survivors of sexual violence. And if we don't start admitting how prevalent this is in our society, I don't think we're going to get the momentum necessary to stop it. So to your specific question as to the young women who are here today, I just want you to know that it's painful for me to say as a man to be able to say to you that somehow you're not going to experience overt sexism or not necessarily experience harassment in your lives. And my hope is that you have the fortitude and the strength, which I know you do, to reject it, to not accept it, to call people out, to raise your voice, to demand things change. And it's tough. And I know it because it often doesn't happen with these powerful Hollywood figures. I mean, come with me to the IHOP on Bergen Street, which some of you know, and talk to some of the servers who we have a society where their tips are dependent upon the people that they're serving. And people feel entitled to make remarks and comments. Just listen to servers and what they often have to endure. So we have to be a collective force, all of us, in condemning this kind of behavior and saying that in our generation, or in this case your generation, that we're going to change this reality and make it absolutely unacceptable that anywhere in our society we see such harassment. And then I hope, going back to the prison, is that we can be a society that is far more attuned to people who are victims of the worst types of sexual assault, men and women, because we seem to be taking people that often need help, that need counseling, that need treatment for trauma, and we unfortunately don't provide that in this country, and see people spin to points where they're actually getting caught up in our criminal justice system, and that's wrong as well.
Thank you, Senator. We have time for one more quick question from Johnny from Plan International USA. Hi, Johnny.
Hi.
You know the drill. Tell us where you're from.
Okie dokie. I was born and raised in Washington, D.C. I attended boarding school in New Jersey.
Which boarding school?
The Petty School.
The which school?
The Petty School.
Yes.
In Central New Jersey.
Yeah. Well, finally some Jersey cred comes out.
Yeah. No,
there's a serious bias towards New York Westerns in this room.
No, I love New Jersey.
Do you love New Jersey?
Yeah. No, going to school there for 4 years. Definitely changed my opinions.
And are you? So you're out of high school. Are you in college now?
Yeah. So I'm taking a gap year. I'm going to be attending Barnard College at Columbia University.
Oh, congratulations! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Great. So my
and
question.
what do you hope to study?
Political science.
Political science.
Yeah, international relations.
That was my major. And what do you want to do when you come out of college?
I hope to go to law school.
Attend law school.
Yeah.
And do you ever want to like intern in the United States Senator's office or something?
Yeah, let's get in contact. Yeah.
So
no, definitely.
I mean, as a poli-sci major, that would be exciting.
Yeah.
And so we have an intern process, and being that you have some nexus to New Jersey, why don't you write down some information and give it to me, and we can see what we do.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, I have to tell you, first of all, I miss Obama a lot, so I want to preface
Don't we all?
And I miss her husband too, and I just felt like I was being outdone by Michelle Obama writing a recommendation for Yara. This is like, so I've got to at least try to have a connection. You're already going to college for crying out loud, and you're going to do graduate school at Rutgers. Ask your question.
Yeah, no, I got it. So again, hi, Senator Brooker. Thank you so much.
We got past that already.
Right? But again, I think you're absolutely amazing and an inspiration. And we all want to know whether or not you'll be running for president in 2020. Right? Yeah. But I am even more curious to know, Yara, will you be running in 2036?
That's the better question. Did you say 2024 for Yara?
No, 2036.
Oh, I was about to say, because she's got to be 35 years old. The Constitution
Yeah.
has stipulated her age.
We did the math.
I don't feel the competition from her right now because she's got some years to go. So, future president?
I describe what I describe what I want to do in the future as policy adjacent, but I don't know exactly what that is. But I do have to say that I'll be of voting age 2018, which means I can vote for you in 2020. And I was wondering how many people will be of voting age by 2020 so we can vote for him.
If you're in New Jersey, you definitely can vote for me. So I'm going to end by saying this again. What I learned from Miss Jones, life is about purpose and not politics. And this is the problem I often find with people who have political aspirations, is that they're so focused on my life goal is to be in a position that then they end up being all about keeping that position as opposed to sometimes doing what's right. And sometimes doing what's right is not always going to be popular. And so that's why I get back to life is about purpose, not popularity. It's about significance, not celebrity. And so I just want to be somebody that stays authentically myself. And if that means that to run in a primary in Iowa, I can't talk about the problems with industrial animal agriculture, and that might zero out my chances of winning votes if I'm going to be talking about CAFOs and things like that, then so be it. I missed that opportunity. And I've been able to get to where I am because of trying to be as fiercely authentic as possible. And that's what the world needs. It doesn't need any dull carbon copies of what already is. It needs you, your unique genius, your unique talent, your unique skill. There was a great political leader who once said, everyone is born an original, but sadly most die copies. And my hope for all of us here is that we never die a copy, that we stay fiercely aligned to our authenticity and our calling and our definitions of what's great. And I want to echo something because Yara manifested something to me that is really important that I learned just from studying success. And I began doing that as a teenager because I was really intimidated at Stanford that I had gotten to that school under false pretenses and that I couldn't compete. And it's one of the worst things that you can do is to allow yourself to be swallowed up by insecurity, because then you fail before you even start believing that you don't belong someplace or believing that you can't compete. And Yara manifested a lesson that was really something I had to teach myself by studying other successful people. I started really on the football field, I studied the best wide receivers, but then I got to the classroom and I said, you know what? I didn't do as good in school as these other folks, didn't do as well in school, but I'm going to study the people that are really smart. And I started realizing that they had two things that had nothing to do with intellect. One is they had really good habits, and the other one is that they had a really good work ethic. And I've learned in my life that there's really no limits to what you can do if you're willing to manifest those two things. Like I found the smart kids would show up early for class, they would sit in front. I found out they would go to the professor's office hours to get to know the professor and discuss material with them. They didn't feel like they had, that professor, you're literally paying their salary with your tuition, so you should get them. I heard smart people I saw that if a paper was due on the 14th, they would finish it by the 7th and hand it to the TA and say, this is my rough draft. Can I get some other advice on it, on how to make it better? And literally the TA would start telling me how to change a B paper into an A paper. And so I've just learned in life that if you want something, you really have to decide. In fact, one of our great African-American women poets said, if you want to fly, you've got to give up the stuff that holds you down. And to be willing to sacrifice something for the things that are important for you. And sometimes that's being a carbon copy, doing what everybody else does. I learned that on Thursday nights, people start partying in college. And I'm like, I could do what everybody's doing and get the results everybody's getting, but I was born to be different. So I'm going to go to the library while other people are out partying and put in more hours than they are, because my goal, my purpose for being here is to achieve the goals that I set for myself. So I'm impressed. Before you, don't applaud for me, applaud for her, because Yara clearly is someone who's making sacrifices and showing discipline, but this is the trifecta. This is why I admire her so much from afar, and now I'm kind of close. But this is what I admire, is that we're all called to be really successful, but again, what I told you earlier, the definition of success my parents taught me is when you become someone that people know or is well known, define your success by your willingness to be an advocate, be an activist, by your willingness to serve, because we swear this oath every time we're in school. You do it a lot. You make an oath, you swear a pledge that this country is going to be one of liberty and justice for all. Well, it's not. Those are aspirational words. And if you're going to swear that oath, you have to understand that my obligations is to make the best out of myself, but also to figure out ways to make this country and this planet live up to the promises of humanity through service and through contributions to others. So thank you, Yara, for being that model.
Thank you. My absolute favorite James Baldwin quote is basically what you just echoed, when it says, around the age of 5 or 6 or 7, you realize the flag that you pledged allegiance to along with everybody else did not pledge allegiance to you. And so I just am enamored by your work that makes this pledge more inclusive of the people who are actually doing it, and I am so inspired.
Thanks to both of you. I can't think of a better note to end this conversation on. Senator Booker, Yara, thanks so much for this great talk. And stay tuned, because we've got the State Bags team coming out right here, right now.
That was so good.
Great job, great job, great job, great job, great job. Hey, make some noise. What we're gonna do is just make sure that you guys are locked in. First of all, give them a round of applause. Booker, Yara, that's big, big time. You guys made it. Just wanna check, you guys still here? Say yeah? Yeah. You guys still with it? Say yeah, yeah? Yeah, yeah. All right, so my name is Coach Raj. I'm just happy to be here. A lot of great performers, talents. And I just want to say you guys are doing a great job as an audience. Great feedback. I'm going to throw it over there to that guy.
Name is Coach Blake in the building, and I'm just absolutely happy to be here as well, throwing it that way.
My name is Coach Chelsea, and I am just loving the power that I feel in this room right now.
So you guys are probably wondering why there are two guys up here with Coach Chelsea, right? Well, it's easy to say this. We're here because we're just excited to represent, and just to be able to say that we're in a room filled with young women, and to say that we wouldn't be here if it weren't for the wonderful women in this world. Give it up.
Can I say something?
Yes,
Can I say something?
Tag.
So, I'm here representing the great organization, State Bags. Guys, give it up for State Bags. Give it up for State Bags. And pretty much, we feel that everyone, you could actually tell by the bag that you carry, but not more importantly, what's in the bag, of what's that person's like story, what's their journey. And if you guys wouldn't mind, can I share something with you? Is it cool? I like, you guys are so polite. Yes. Here we go. Let me see what I got. So really quick, what I carry around in my state bag is a locket. It's a locket. This is where you usually go, aw. Aww. You don't even know what it's about. What are you on for? Here we go. I'll tell you really quick. This locket was given to me by my mother. I come from a Caribbean, thank you. Cue the given to me by my mother. She's a migrant from Grenada, from the Caribbean island. Shout out to everyone that's holding it down in the Caribbean. And what I've taken from her, what I've gotten from her growing up as a young man is just to be confident, keep your head up high, make sure that you don't let anyone put you down. Don't be good, be great. Can you say that with me? Don't be good.
Don't be good.
Don't be good.
Be great.
I know they want to share some things too, so I just want to say thank you guys for giving me the time. You guys have been great.
Tennille, really quickly. So in my bag, I carry a pen, right? I'm sure everyone probably has a pen in their bags, but my pen, I feel, is a bit special. Yeah, it looks like a simple one, but I believe that my pen is my voice. And I think that your pen can also be your voice. So if you ever have anything that you'd love to say, anything that is deep inside of you that you care about so much, and you feel like you may not have the voice to speak it out, grab a pen. It's the easiest way to let it out, and it can always impact the world.
So guys, what I carry in my backpack, I actually put it in my pocket because I wanted to share with you guys. I walk around with this tiny little mirror, not because, you know, nice. Not because, you know, I want to look fabulous. You know, we all love the skin that we're in, so we all already look fabulous. But my mirror reminds me that no matter what, when I'm looking at my reflection, I see the reflection of everyone else around me. When I see people looking at me, it reminds me that they're watching. I need to be a role model. I need to be great. I need to make great choices. I need to make sure that no matter what, I'm doing the right thing so that I can inspire others to do the same. I grew up in a dance studio, and not that I'm famous or I am where I want to be right now, but the mirror always reminds me that I've been somewhere, but I'm not going to forget where I'm going. I know where I've been, but I know where I want to go. And my mirror is my journey. My mirror is my story. And we got to share something with you guys. We got to share our stories, but we want to gear you guys up with something to take on your journey. You guys think we should give out some backpacks?
You guys want some?
You guys want some backpacks?
You guys want some stuff?
Everyone gets a backpack. You guys are all getting backpacks. You guys are all going home.
Bring them in. Bring them back. Bring them back.
Yara, Henrieth, Ashley, Amanda, Cleo are going to help us hand them out. These ladies are going to help us hand us out. Anybody need a bag? And thank you, Maybelline New York and Caterpillar Foundation, for making this event possible. I want to thank all of our speakers and guests, DJ Vashti Kola, Amanda Gorman, Ashley Graham, Yara Shahidi, the Lethal Ladies, Cleo Wade, Frieda Pinto, Henrieth Paul, Tennille Amor, and Senator Cory Booker. And I cannot forget the most important players of all here. Ladies, we want to say thank you. Thank you. This is what it's all about. You run the world. Have a good night. So big. You guys are so go big. Be smart, be strong, be big, and know that you have the power to get to do anything you want, and we have your back. Here you go. Did you get a bag? She's like, I'll take a second bag. Thank you.
I think we're cooking. Great job, man.